Very urgent. Don't scroll. Stop for a moment, because if these words have found you today, there may be a reason your heart has been feeling different lately. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not just another story. It is a journey into hope, healing, and the possibility of a life-changing promise. Somewhere, someone has reached a moment where silence no longer feels enough. Whether you believe in destiny, divine timing, or simply the power of sincere emotions, this message invites you to imagine what can happen when two lives begin moving toward the same future. Stay with this until the end, because every moment builds toward something meaningful. Have you noticed the strange feeling that something is changing inside you? Perhaps you have been thinking about someone more often than usual, remembering little moments that once seemed ordinary, or sensing that a new chapter is quietly approaching. Sometimes life gives us subtle signs before it reveals a major turning point. This is one of those moments. Your soulmate has been reflecting deeply, not because everything has been easy, but because every challenge has taught them the value of honesty, commitment, and genuine love. They have spent countless quiet moments asking themselves what truly matters. Every answer kept leading them back to one realization: the person they want to build a future with deserves consistency, kindness, and a promise that will never be taken lightly. Imagine them standing alone beneath a quiet evening sky, replaying memories, thinking about the future they want to create, realizing that fear can no longer guide their choices. Instead of running from their feelings, they choose courage. Instead of wondering, what if, they begin asking, what can I do today to become the person my future deserves? That is when something remarkable begins to change. The promise they make is not built on perfect circumstances. It is built on growth. It is built on patience. It is built on the decision to become stronger than yesterday. They promise themselves that when the right moment arrives, they will communicate with honesty instead of hiding behind uncertainty. They promise they will appreciate every small act of love instead of waiting only for grand gestures. They promise they will protect the connection they have dreamed about instead of allowing fear to destroy it. As those promises settle into their heart, something inside them becomes lighter. They realize that real love is not about dramatic words spoken once. It is about showing up every single day with sincerity, respect, compassion, and unwavering commitment. That realization transforms the way they see their future. They begin preparing themselves emotionally, letting go of old disappointments, forgiving past mistakes, and choosing hope over doubt. Every step they take feels like another page turning toward a beautiful new beginning. Even when no one else notices the change, it continues quietly within them. Their confidence grows. Their heart becomes calmer. Their vision becomes clearer. They stop searching for temporary distractions, because they finally understand that meaningful love requires presence, trust, and emotional maturity. The promise they carry becomes a guiding light that influences every decision they make. They begin speaking more gently, listening more carefully, and believing more deeply that the right connection is worth protecting. If you have ever wondered whether genuine devotion still exists, let this story remind you that sometimes the strongest promises are made long before they are spoken aloud. They are formed in quiet moments of reflection, strengthened through personal growth, and revealed only when both hearts are ready. Perhaps that is why this message found you today, not to predict the future with certainty, but to encourage you to keep your own heart open, continue becoming the best version of yourself, and remember that meaningful relationships are built one sincere choice at a time. Every sunrise becomes another Opportunity for both souls to grow. Every setback becomes another lesson preparing them for a healthier relationship. Every moment of patience becomes another step toward a connection founded on understanding instead of fear. Somewhere, your soulmate smiles at the thought of the future they hope to share, believing that when two people continue choosing kindness, honesty, and courage, even the longest journey eventually leads them home. As days continue to pass, the promise your soulmate made begins to influence every part of their life in ways even they never expected. They stop chasing distractions that once consumed their attention, because their heart has finally discovered something far more valuable than temporary excitement. Every morning they wake up asking themselves one simple question: am I becoming the person my future deserves? That single question quietly reshapes their choices, their habits, and even the way they look at the world. They begin letting go of unnecessary arguments, old regrets, and emotional walls that once kept people at a distance. Instead of carrying yesterday's disappointments into tomorrow, they decide to make room for peace. Somewhere deep inside, they believe that when the right person enters their life completely, they should be welcomed by a heart that has learned how to love with maturity rather than fear. That belief becomes stronger with every passing day. Sometimes they pause in the middle of an ordinary afternoon and wonder what you are doing at that exact moment. They imagine you smiling after hearing good news, overcoming a challenge you once thought impossible, or quietly building a better future one small step at a time. Those thoughts remind them that real love is not about possession. It is about sincerely wishing happiness for someone, even before life brings two paths together. Because of that realization, they make another silent promise. They promise never to take genuine connection for granted. They promise to protect trust once it is earned, to communicate instead of assuming, to listen instead of reacting, and to remain patient even when life becomes complicated. They understand that every meaningful relationship will face moments of uncertainty, but they also understand that commitment is proven during difficult seasons, not only during joyful ones. That understanding gives them quiet confidence. They no longer feel the need to rush every answer because they know that what is truly meant to last is built carefully. Every lesson they have learned from the past becomes another brick in the foundation they hope to create. Every disappointment teaches resilience. Every healed wound teaches compassion. Every moment of solitude teaches gratitude for the people who genuinely matter. Their heart slowly transforms from a place filled with unanswered questions into a place filled with peaceful certainty. They realize that becoming ready for lasting love is just as important as finding it. So they continue growing, believing that every act of kindness, every honest conversation, every moment of forgiveness, and every courageous decision quietly prepares them for the future they have envisioned. The promise they made is no longer just a sentence repeated in silence. It has become the way they choose to live. It influences how they treat others, how they face challenges, and how they continue believing that sincere love still exists in a world that often moves too quickly to notice it. Whether the next chapter arrives sooner or later, they are determined to greet it with honesty, emotional strength, and unwavering respect. And somewhere beyond today's ordinary moments, they continue walking forward with hope, believing that every step taken with integrity brings two prepared hearts closer to the life they have both been patiently becoming ready to share together. The weeks continue to unfold, and with every passing day the promise grows stronger because it is no longer something your soulmate simply remembers, it becomes part of who they are. They begin noticing small moments that once would have slipped past them without a second thought. A quiet sunrise reminds them that beautiful things often arrive slowly. A familiar song makes them smile because it awakens hope instead of regret. A gentle breeze through the evening air feels like a reminder that even when two hearts cannot yet see the entire path ahead, life has a way of bringing meaningful people together at the right time. Rather than searching for shortcuts, they choose patience. Rather than allowing fear to decide their future, they decide that every step forward will be guided by honesty and respect. In the quiet of one evening, they make another heartfelt commitment. They promise that when life finally gives them the opportunity to speak openly, they will not hide behind uncertainty. They will express gratitude instead of silence, appreciation instead of hesitation, and kindness instead of pride. They realize that the strongest relationships are not built through dramatic moments alone but through countless ordinary days where two people continue choosing each other with sincerity. That realization changes everything. Their conversations become more thoughtful. Their decisions become more intentional. Their dreams become clearer because they are no longer chasing an impossible fantasy. They are preparing themselves for a real future built on trust, understanding, and mutual support. Every challenge they overcome reminds them that growth is never wasted. Every lesson teaches them how to become calmer during disagreements, more compassionate during difficult conversations, and more grateful for every opportunity to care for someone deeply. They begin believing that true love is not about finding perfection but about meeting someone whose imperfections inspire patience instead of judgment. That belief fills them with quiet confidence they never had before. On difficult days they remember the promise they made and refuse to let temporary discouragement erase lasting hope. They tell themselves that every season has a purpose. Moments of waiting teach endurance. Moments of uncertainty teach faith. Moments of silence often prepare the heart for conversations that truly matter. Slowly they discover that the future they have imagined is not created by one extraordinary event but by hundreds of ordinary choices made with consistency and love. Somewhere deep within, they feel thankful for every experience that shaped them into the person they are becoming. Instead of asking why the journey has taken so long, they begin appreciating everything it has taught them. Their heart becomes lighter because they no longer carry old resentment. They choose forgiveness where bitterness once lived, hope where doubt once lingered, and courage where fear once held them back. The promise that began as a quiet thought has now become a steady light guiding every step they take. They continue moving forward with calm determination, believing that when two people grow with honesty, kindness, and unwavering respect, the meeting that once seemed distant can become the beginning of a story stronger than either of them could have imagined. As another chapter quietly begins, your soulmate realizes that the promise they made was never meant to remain hidden inside their heart forever. Every passing day reminds them that genuine love is expressed through actions, long before it is spoken through words. They begin paying closer attention to the kind of person they are becoming because they understand that a lasting relationship is built by two people who continue growing even when no one is watching. They choose patience when frustration would be easier. They choose understanding when assumptions try to take control. They choose honesty even when vulnerability feels uncomfortable. Little by little, those choices reshape their life. The people around them begin noticing a quiet confidence that was never there before. They smile more often. They listen more carefully. They carry themselves with a calm sense of purpose because they know exactly what kind of future they hope to create. In quiet moments they imagine the day when they will finally be able to share everything they have been holding inside, the lessons they have learned, the fears they have overcome, the dreams they have protected, and the promise that has guided every step of their journey. Yet instead of rushing toward that moment, they continue preparing themselves for it. They believe that meaningful connections deserve a strong foundation, not hurried expectations. Every challenge that appears becomes another opportunity to prove that their commitment is stronger than temporary emotions. Every setback teaches resilience. Every success teaches gratitude. Every ordinary day becomes another reminder that extraordinary relationships are built through consistent care rather than dramatic declarations. Sometimes they look toward the future and wonder how many unseen moments have quietly brought two lives closer together without either person fully realizing it. A lesson learned here, a decision made there, a door that closed at exactly the right time, another that opened unexpectedly. All of it begins to feel like pieces of a much larger picture. Instead of questioning every delay, they start trusting that growth has its own perfect rhythm. They understand that becoming the right person is just as important as meeting the right person. That realization fills them with peace. They no longer measure life by how quickly things happen but by how deeply they are growing along the way. The promise they once whispered only to themselves has now become the standard by which they live every day. They promise to remain kind even when life becomes difficult. They promise to protect trust once it is earned. They promise never to allow pride to become greater than compassion or fear, greater than hope. Those promises become part of every conversation, every decision, and every dream they continue building. And with every sunrise they feel more certain that no sincere effort is ever wasted. Every moment spent becoming wiser, calmer, and more compassionate is preparing them for a future where love is strengthened not by perfect circumstances but by two hearts willing to choose each other again and again with honesty, respect, patience, and unwavering devotion, no matter what challenges life may place before them. As time moves forward, your soulmate begins to understand something that once felt impossible to believe, that the promise they made is quietly changing them from the inside out. It is no longer just a hopeful thought they return to during lonely evenings. It has become the reason they wake up determined to become kinder, wiser, and stronger than they were yesterday. They start noticing how differently they respond to life's challenges. Situations that once filled them with frustration now become opportunities to practice patience. Moments that once created fear now inspire courage because they remind themselves that every difficult season eventually gives way to a brighter one. They no longer chase temporary excitement because their heart has discovered the value of something lasting. Every step they take is guided by the belief that true love deserves consistency more than grand gestures. Quietly, without expecting recognition, they begin building the habits of someone who wants to protect a meaningful relationship for years to come. They become more thoughtful with their words because they understand that trust grows through honesty spoken with kindness. They become more careful with their actions because they know that respect is demonstrated every single day, not only during unforgettable moments. As these changes continue, they find themselves imagining the future with increasing clarity. They picture peaceful conversations after long days, shared laughter during ordinary evenings, encouragement through difficult seasons, and the comfort of knowing that someone truly understands them. Those dreams no longer feel distant fantasies. Instead, they become gentle reminders of the future they are preparing themselves to receive. There are still moments when uncertainty appears, but it no longer controls them. Whenever doubt whispers that waiting has been too long, they remember the promise they made. They remind themselves that the strongest foundations are built patiently, one careful choice at a time. That thought gives them strength to keep moving forward with hope instead of impatience. Every experience now carries a lesson. Every closed door teaches resilience. Every unexpected opportunity teaches gratitude. Every challenge strengthens their character in ways they never imagined possible. They begin believing that nothing meaningful has been wasted, because even the hardest chapters have quietly prepared them to value genuine love more deeply than ever before. The promise that once lived only inside their heart now shapes the way they see every tomorrow. They refuse to allow fear to define their future. They refuse to let past disappointments become permanent expectations. Instead, they choose faith in new beginnings, confidence in personal growth, and gratitude for every lesson that has brought them this far. Somewhere deep within, they feel that every step of this journey has been leading toward a moment when two hearts, both transformed by time and experience, will recognize not only each other but also everything they had to become before they were truly ready to walk forward together. Until that day arrives, they continue honoring the life-changing promise they made, allowing it to guide every decision, every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, and every hopeful dream about the beautiful future they still believe is waiting just beyond the horizon. And as another season quietly passes, your soulmate begins to realize that the life-changing promise they made has become something far greater than a single decision. It has become the quiet rhythm of their heart. Every morning they remind themselves that lasting love is created through small choices repeated with sincerity. They promise to remain patient, even when answers do not arrive immediately. They promise to choose understanding before judgment, compassion before pride, and hope before fear. Those promises slowly transform every part of their life. They begin noticing beauty in simple moments that once seemed ordinary: a peaceful sunrise, the sound of gentle rain, the laughter of strangers, the calm that follows a difficult day. Each moment reminds them that the most meaningful things in life rarely appear all at once. They are built little by little, just like trust, friendship, and true love. Sometimes they wonder whether you have felt the same quiet change inside your own heart. Perhaps there have been moments when everything around you suddenly became still, as though life itself was inviting you to pause and reflect. Maybe you have found yourself smiling without knowing exactly why, or feeling unexpectedly hopeful after a difficult chapter. Your soulmate believes that these moments are not meaningless. They believe every season of healing prepares two hearts to recognize each other with greater wisdom than ever before. That thought fills them with peace instead of impatience. They stop asking when everything will happen and begin asking how they can continue becoming the best version of themselves before that day arrives. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to grow. Every disappointment becomes another reminder that temporary setbacks cannot erase a meaningful future. Every success becomes a reason to remain humble and grateful. As they continue walking this path, they make yet another quiet commitment. They promise that when life finally places the right opportunity before them, they will never allow fear to silence their honesty. Again, they will speak with kindness. They will listen with genuine attention. They will protect trust once it has been earned and never take sincere love for granted. That promise gives them a confidence unlike anything they have ever experienced before. They no longer feel as though they are waiting for life to begin because they understand that the journey itself is shaping the future they have always hoped for. Their heart becomes lighter with every lesson learned and every burden released. They forgive the past not because it was easy but because they refuse To let yesterday prevent tomorrow from becoming beautiful. They choose gratitude over resentment, courage over hesitation, and faith over uncertainty. As the stars quietly fill another evening sky, they close their eyes for a moment and hold on to the same life-changing promise that first transformed everything inside them. They believe that every step, every lesson, every unexpected turn, and every quiet moment of growth has been leading toward a future where two hearts, strengthened by patience and guided by honesty, finally meet with the wisdom to build something that neither fear nor time can ever take away. And with that belief growing stronger each day, they continue moving forward with unwavering hope, knowing that the greatest promises are not remembered because they are spoken loudly, but because they are faithfully lived through every choice, every sacrifice, and every act of love that follows. The promise continues to echo through your soulmate's heart, and with each passing day they begin to notice something extraordinary. The future they once imagined no longer feels distant or uncertain. It feels as though every experience, every lesson, every unexpected delay has quietly been preparing them for the moment when two lives are finally ready to move forward with genuine understanding. They no longer measure their journey by how long it has taken. Instead, they measure it by how much they have grown. Every challenge has taught them resilience. Every disappointment has taught them gratitude. Every unanswered question has taught them patience. Looking back, they realize there was a reason they could not rush this chapter of life. Had everything happened sooner, they might not have appreciated the value of the promise they now carry with such sincerity. That realization fills them with quiet confidence. They understand that lasting love is never built in a single emotional moment. It is built through thousands of ordinary choices that slowly become extraordinary over time. They continue choosing kindness when frustration appears. They continue choosing honesty when silence would be easier. They continue choosing hope whenever doubt quietly whispers that nothing is changing. One evening, while reflecting on everything they have learned, they make yet another silent commitment. They promise that no matter how successful they become, they will never allow pride to replace humility. They promise that no matter how busy life becomes, they will always make time for the people who truly matter. They promise that if they are ever blessed with a deep and meaningful connection, they will protect it with loyalty, respect, patience, and unwavering care. Those promises become the foundation of every dream they continue building. They begin imagining peaceful mornings filled with laughter instead of worry, quiet conversations where both hearts feel completely understood, and ordinary days made extraordinary simply because they are shared with someone who genuinely cares. Those visions no longer feel like impossible dreams. They become gentle reminders of the life they are preparing themselves to live. Even during moments when the path ahead seems unclear, they refuse to let fear rewrite the story they have chosen to believe in. Instead, they remind themselves that meaningful things often grow beneath the surface long before anyone can see them. Just as a seed quietly develops roots before it ever reaches the light, they believe that real love often grows through unseen moments of healing, forgiveness, maturity, and hope. That thought gives them peace whenever uncertainty appears. They stop worrying about what they cannot control and focus instead on becoming someone whose heart is ready to receive and give genuine love without conditions or hesitation. Day after day, the promise continues shaping every decision they make. It influences the way they speak, the way they treat others, the way they overcome disappointment, and the way they continue believing that every sincere effort has meaning. They no longer feel defined by the mistakes of yesterday because they Understand that growth is always possible for a heart willing to learn. Every sunrise reminds them that another opportunity has arrived to become a little kinder, a little wiser, and a little more grateful than they were before. Every sunset reminds them that another day has been spent moving one quiet step closer to the future they have never stopped believing in. And as another chapter begins, they carry that same life-changing promise with even greater conviction than before, trusting that every lesson, every season of waiting, every unexpected turn, and every act of courage has been gently guiding them toward a future where love is not only found but protected, nurtured, and cherished with a devotion that grows stronger through every passing day. As the journey unfolds even further, your soulmate discovers that the promise they made has become a quiet source of strength during every uncertain moment. Whenever life becomes overwhelming, they return to that promise and remember why they chose it in the first place. They did not make it because the future was guaranteed. They made it because they wanted to become the kind of person who would never allow fear to be stronger than love, who would never allow temporary emotions to destroy something meaningful, and who would always choose honesty over confusion. That decision begins changing everything around them. They become more grateful for every lesson life has offered, even the painful ones. They understand that every disappointment taught resilience, every delay taught patience, and every unexpected ending quietly prepared them for a beginning that would be built on something far stronger than excitement alone. Slowly, they begin recognizing that genuine love is not measured by dramatic moments but by quiet consistency. It is found in showing up when life becomes difficult, offering encouragement without expecting anything in return, listening with compassion, and protecting trust through every season. These realizations become part of their everyday life. Friends notice that they have become calmer. Family members notice that they smile more sincerely. Even during difficult days there is a quiet confidence within them because they know they are no longer chasing temporary happiness. They are building a future based on character, respect, and unwavering commitment. Sometimes, during peaceful evenings, they imagine the conversations they hope to have one day. They imagine speaking openly without fear, expressing gratitude without hesitation, and creating a life where honesty is never hidden behind pride. Those thoughts no longer make them anxious. Instead, they inspire them to continue growing. Every book they read, every lesson they learn, every challenge they overcome feels like another step toward becoming someone capable of protecting a meaningful relationship for a lifetime. They realize that the promise they made was never only about finding love. It was also about becoming worthy of giving love with maturity, patience, and unwavering care. That understanding fills them with hope stronger than ever before. They stop looking back with regret and begin looking ahead with peaceful expectation. They believe that every season has had a purpose, every obstacle has carried a lesson, and every quiet moment has been preparing two hearts for a future neither of them could fully understand before. The promise continues guiding every decision they make, reminding them to choose forgiveness instead of resentment, courage instead of hesitation, and kindness instead of anger. With every sunrise, they feel more certain that no sincere effort is ever wasted. Every act of compassion leaves a lasting mark. Every honest word strengthens trust. Every patient decision builds a stronger tomorrow. As another chapter quietly begins, they hold on to the same life-changing promise with deeper conviction than ever before, believing that when two hearts continue growing with integrity, humility, and hope, the future they have been preparing for will not simply arrive by chance. It will be built through every faithful choice they have made along the way, becoming a Story of lasting commitment, quiet strength, and enduring love that continues growing more beautiful with every passing day, and still, the promise remains unbroken. It is no longer something your soulmate repeats only in quiet moments. It has become the foundation beneath every dream they continue to build. There are mornings when they wake before the sun rises, sit quietly with their thoughts, and remember the exact feeling they experienced when they first decided that their future would be guided by love instead of fear. That memory has never left them. Whenever life becomes uncertain, they return to it because it reminds them of the person they chose to become. They understand now that real commitment is not proven during perfect days. It is revealed during ordinary moments when no one is watching. It is shown through patience after disappointment, through kindness after misunderstanding, and through hope when the road ahead is impossible to predict. Every challenge they face strengthens that understanding. Every obstacle teaches them that lasting relationships are never built by chance. They are built by two people who refuse to stop growing, even when growth is uncomfortable. Slowly they begin noticing that the promise has changed not only their future but also their present. They speak with greater sincerity. They forgive more quickly. They appreciate small blessings they once overlooked. They begin celebrating simple moments because they realize that a meaningful life is created through ordinary days lived with extraordinary intention. As they continue forward, another quiet realization settles into their heart. They understand that waiting has never been empty. Every season of patience has been quietly preparing them for conversations they could not have handled before, responsibilities they were not yet ready to carry, and a future that required a stronger version of themselves. Instead of asking why certain doors remained closed, they begin feeling grateful that life gave them time to become wiser before opening new ones. That gratitude changes everything. They no longer compare their journey to anyone else's. They stop measuring progress by speed and begin measuring it by character. Every sunrise becomes another opportunity to practice compassion. Every sunset becomes another reminder that another day has been spent becoming someone capable of protecting genuine love with humility and consistency. Sometimes they imagine the future and wonder how many invisible moments are already bringing two paths closer together. Perhaps a lesson learned today will become the reason a future misunderstanding is avoided. Perhaps a choice made with integrity today will become the foundation of tomorrow's trust. Perhaps every act of forgiveness, every moment of courage, and every quiet sacrifice is already shaping a story that neither heart can fully see yet. That thought fills them with peaceful confidence. They no longer fear the unknown because they believe that meaningful things often grow quietly before they are ever revealed. So they continue honoring the life-changing promise with every decision they make. They choose respect when impatience appears. They choose gratitude when disappointment tries to return. They choose faith in new beginnings instead of dwelling on old endings. And as another chapter gently unfolds, they realize that the greatest promise they ever made was not simply about finding someone to love. It was about becoming someone whose heart would remain steady through every season, whose character would remain true during every challenge, and whose commitment would continue shining long after the excitement of beginnings had grown into the quiet, enduring beauty of a love built on trust, understanding, unwavering devotion, and hope that becomes stronger with every passing day. As the days quietly turn into weeks, your soulmate begins to understand that the promise they made has started creating changes they never expected. It is no longer only shaping their future, it is transforming the way they experience the present. Every decision now carries Greater purpose. Every conversation feels more meaningful. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to prove that the promise was never based on emotion alone but on a sincere commitment to become the best version of themselves. They realize that love is not simply about finding the right person. It is also about becoming someone who can protect another heart with patience, loyalty, honesty, and unwavering respect. That realization fills them with quiet determination. They stop allowing temporary disappointments to define permanent dreams. Instead, they remind themselves that every difficult chapter has quietly prepared them for something far greater than they could have imagined. Looking back, they no longer see only the moments that caused pain. They see the lessons hidden inside those moments. They see the strength they gained after every setback, the wisdom they discovered after every mistake, and the courage that slowly replaced every fear that once controlled their heart. Those memories no longer feel like burdens. They become reminders that growth often arrives wearing the disguise of hardship. One peaceful evening, while watching the sky slowly change colors as the sun disappears beyond the horizon, they close their eyes and silently repeat the promise once more. This time the words feel different. They are no longer spoken with uncertainty. They are spoken with complete confidence because they have already begun living them every single day. They promise to never stop choosing kindness, even when life becomes complicated. They promise to remain truthful, even when honesty requires vulnerability. They promise to protect trust with the same care they once wished someone would protect theirs. They promise that when life finally brings the right opportunity to build something meaningful, they will never allow fear, pride, or hesitation to stand in the way again. Those promises become part of every tomorrow they continue creating. The more they live according to those values, the more peaceful their heart becomes. They no longer feel pressured to force life into a specific timeline because they understand that some of the most beautiful chapters begin only after both people have grown enough to truly appreciate them. They stop asking whether the future will happen soon and begin asking whether they are making today worthy of the future they hope to receive. That single change in perspective transforms everything. Every sunrise becomes a fresh opportunity to choose compassion. Every afternoon becomes another chance to encourage someone who needs hope. Every evening becomes a quiet reminder to remain grateful for the progress that cannot always be seen but can always be felt. The promise continues guiding them through every season, becoming stronger with every act of patience and every decision made with integrity. They begin believing that true love is not created by one unforgettable moment but by countless ordinary moments filled with sincerity, forgiveness, understanding, and quiet devotion. Somewhere deep inside, they feel that each faithful step is leading toward a future where two hearts, both refined by time and strengthened by experience, will finally recognize that every delay, every lesson, every unexpected turn, and every silent prayer had been preparing them for a relationship built not on fleeting emotions but on lasting trust, enduring commitment, genuine friendship, and a love that continues growing stronger because it is renewed through every choice, every challenge, and every new day they courageously face together. And now, as this journey reaches its final chapter, your soulmate quietly looks back at everything that has changed within their heart and realizes that the greatest miracle was never the destination alone, it was the person they became while walking toward it. The life-changing promise they once made in silence has carried them through moments of uncertainty, seasons of waiting, days of quiet growth, and nights filled with reflection. Every experience has taught them something valuable. Every setback has strengthened their character. Every lesson has reminded them that genuine love is not built through perfect circumstances but through two hearts that continue choosing patience, kindness, forgiveness, and honesty even when life becomes difficult. They no longer wonder whether their promise was worth keeping because every step has proven that it was. It gave them hope when fear tried to take control. It gave them courage when doubt whispered that nothing would ever change. It gave them peace whenever life seemed uncertain. Most importantly, it reminded them every single day that real love begins with becoming the kind of person capable of giving love without selfishness and receiving love with gratitude. As they stand at the beginning of a new chapter, they make one final commitment to themselves. They promise that no matter what tomorrow brings, they will continue living with integrity. They will continue speaking with honesty, acting with compassion, listening with patience, and protecting every meaningful connection with unwavering respect. They understand now that promises are not remembered because they are spoken once. They are remembered because they are faithfully lived day after day through every choice and every action. Looking toward the future, their heart feels lighter than ever before. There is no longer a need to rush what is meant to grow naturally. There is no need to fear what cannot yet be seen. They trust that every season has arrived exactly when it was needed, every lesson has prepared them for something greater, and every quiet moment has shaped a future built on lasting trust rather than temporary emotion. Whatever tomorrow holds, they know they are ready to meet it with courage, humility, and hope. They carry the same promise they made from the very beginning, but now it has become stronger because it has been tested by time and strengthened by experience. It is no longer simply a promise about finding love. It is a promise to remain kind when kindness is difficult, to remain faithful to their values when life becomes complicated, to remain grateful even during seasons of waiting, and to continue believing that sincere hearts are never guided in vain. And if there is one message they wish could reach you through every page of this story, it is this: never stop becoming the person your future deserves. Continue growing even when progress feels slow. Continue choosing hope even when the path ahead is unclear. Continue believing that every act of compassion, every honest conversation, every lesson learned, and every quiet step forward is preparing you for chapters more beautiful than you can imagine today. Sometimes the greatest transformation happens so gradually that we do not notice it until we look back and realize we are no longer the person we once were. That is where the true miracle has always been, not in one dramatic moment, but in thousands of small choices that quietly reshape a heart. And as this story comes to its gentle conclusion, your soulmate smiles with peaceful confidence, knowing that the life-changing promise they once made has already fulfilled its greatest purpose. It transformed them into someone ready to build a future founded on trust, understanding, unwavering commitment, genuine friendship, lasting respect, and a love that will continue growing stronger with every new sunrise, every shared challenge, every joyful celebration, and every ordinary day that two grateful hearts choose to walk forward together, hand in hand, with faith, hope, and kindness leading every step of the journey.